Today, I just want to tell you a few stories. I was brought up, as I probably have many of you, in a Catholic school. And one of the things that we learned, and I particularly imbibed, was this concept of having to give your life. Having to, the nuns always talk to us about how those of us who were privileged had to give of ourselves, had to be benefactors, had to be the giver, the one above. And when I moved into my work serving children, my work focusing on the most marginalized of our society, I remember the thrill of coming in and thinking, I'm going to be this generous benefactor. I'm going to stand there and, feel great and smile and have my halo fixed very strongly around my head. And I did, in the beginning when I joined the sector, I was, these social sector people don't know much, and I'm the hero, and I must fix this, and we must put this leadership thing in place, and we must do that. What I want to share with you today is really what my life has become after that, which was to discover that that is not so. You don't give. What happens actually is that you receive. What happens actually is that you transform. You, the change maker, you, the person who was going out to be the good fairy, is actually received and transformed because you have discovered so much about yourself. When I grew up, I remember this aunt of mine who would say, Puja, bahut sensitive hai. As if it was a huge weakness. And I grew up thinking it was a weakness. You burst into tears, and why do you feel sorry for people? And, we are brought up in this country being told that we must inure ourselves to poverty. That when that child begs outside our car window, when you see people sleeping on the road, you're supposed to get used to it. You're supposed to be part of saying, I can't solve this problem. There's no point. Let me get on with my life. I must study. And this is what you hear. And I grew up thinking the sensitivity is a huge weakness. What I've discovered in the course of my work is actually, it is one of my greatest strengths. It is what gives me cognitive empathy. It is because of this sensitivity that I do what I do. And in the process, I have discovered that this is something I'm terribly proud of. It's something that I've actually learned to hone more, to be able to look at a group of young people and know which one you have to focus on. And for me, that's been, I cannot even begin to describe what great a gift. So to have turned from being, this oversensitive, over-empathetic person to actually someone for whom this is a huge strength. And I can spend the whole day telling you about all the amazing things that have changed in me. If you had told me when I was in college that I would be standing here today, that I would be heading my organization, that I would have changed the lives of 1 million children every year, I would have laughed at you. I always saw myself as, I followed my heart. I ran after the subjects I wanted to do. I was not focused and did engineering and math and what have you, right? And it's serving others that has actually changed and transformed my life. It has made me confident, it has made me a leader, and it has made me understand that, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. please understand that what will really help you in life is actually to be vulnerable, to admit what is wrong with you, to take those fears and transform them and be courageous despite those fears, to be courageous and face what you have to face despite the odds. You know, today we are facing a situation where we are being told, you know, the work that you do, oh, are you really using my money? For the first time, we are facing people questioning what we do. And sometimes it makes you very angry, it makes you very fearful. But I think what I'm learning also in this process is that it is actually giving me, acknowledging these fears is giving me courage, not tucking them away under a sofa, not, you know, putting them away and saying, no, 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 of course, so what? No, this is real. This is real that people are going to question us, that I feel me and my communities are under threat today. And it makes me braver, it makes me stronger. And, you know, I want to share with you as I thought about today's talk. And I thought of two people that I know whose stories I want to share with you because they are the same stories. They are change makers who went out there to make change. And yet, like me, have actually discovered themselves in the process, have discovered what they are capable of. So this is not a photograph of Tanu. This is only a photograph of the area she lives in. Tanu is a young 14-year-old. This area is called Shahbad Dairy. A lot of you who are from Delhi would be familiar with the area. It was in the news recently because we discovered that children were not being fed at night. Why were they not being fed? Because if they were fed, they might want to go to the toilet. And there are only 4 toilets, that too at the corner of this colony, this resettlement colony on the outside of Delhi. And they can be raped, they can be picked up. The maximum number of missing children and women are from Shahbad Dairy. And there is young Tanu. She's 14, and I met her because my activists who work there said, meet this girl. She's 14. She lives in this area. She is from there, where constantly what you are told when you exit every day to go to school or go out to buy something is, watch out. You're going to be, the chances are you might be abducted, chances are you may be raped. When you go to the toilet, you may be raped, right? Don't talk to men. And she told me about how when she was walking to school, she saw a group of boys fighting with each other. And this girl walked up to them and intervened and said, what's going on? Figured out that these young boys suffer from what boys in that community suffer, which is they are being taught to be rough, tough, masculine, you know, money snatching, whatever snatching young people who don't need to go to school. And can you believe what this girl did? And I'm thinking, here is someone who, to my mind, is just about keeping her head over water, right? Herself. The fact that she's still going to school, the fact that she's, you know, still keeping herself safe. But Tanu didn't even think about it. She and a group of friends discussed among themselves and said, what should we do? And they said, let's teach them. Let's teach these kids who are not going to school something. And off they went, once again, to the parents, all of whom, as you can imagine, are busy, are saying, school nahi jana chahte, what can we do? Persuaded them, negotiated with them to actually bring these children to a study class run by Tanu and her friends. Not some fancy schmancy rich Catholic school educated girl coming and doing it for them. They did it for themselves. And she's carried on from there. It's been a year. She has got a lot of these kids have gone back to school because of what she's done. And she has become, I don't even know what to say. She has become one of the most incandescent young people that I met. who without the advantages of mentoring, of parenting, of anything, seems to have the most incredible courage, has discovered she can negotiate, has discovered that there is no gender issue because it was a little group of boys with whom she interfered. And I don't even know what's going to become of her, but I know that she is so changed by being a change maker. That today, in that area of darkness with a capital D, she is a little beacon of light. And you ask her and she says, Didi, main to socha bhi nahi. It didn't really strike me what I was doing. I was doing what I thought had to be done. I did what it seemed to be right. And really, to me, here is a person transformed forever. This is going to be no ordinary life. This is going to be somebody who has taken charge of her situation, taken charge of her own courage, taken charge of her resources. I go to school, so I can at least teach 7-year-olds, can't I? To me, my work, what I do, what I gain is all worth it if we can create so many young people like this. We can create many Tanus. And as I looked around and I started seeing what are these qualities that both we seem to require to be able to make change, but also what do we in the process gain? And we realize that in CRY we are always looking at what is it that makes people these change makers. But to me right now, I think the search is for what it then does to you. What does it do to me? What does it take for me to say what was seen as a weakness, what I always saw as an issue of self-worth? Actually, it changes incredibly for me. We have young people coming to us to volunteer. We have young people like you everywhere, all the time coming to CRY and saying, what can I do? Because I think people want to change what is going on. It is not right that young people like Tanu have to live the way they do, for example. And we want to change that world. And yet I'm an ordinary person. I have to earn a salary. What am I going to do? And I say to you, this is not just about what you're going to give, but it's what you're going to gain. I have young volunteers today coming. I remember a young girl in Calcutta coming to me and saying, ma'am, this is like an MBA school. I volunteered for 2 years and I learned all these crazy things. I learned to go and negotiate with a government person for a water cooler in the school. My normal reaction as a rich person would have to go buy the water cooler, right? But I didn't do that because CRY made me go and say, negotiate with the government education officer, talk to him. And I've discovered I can be a leader, I can be a negotiator, I can learn how to work with difficult children, I can learn how to get them back to school. And these are some of the things that I learn, I gain, and I become, I transform. We have a person we support in Madhya Pradesh, Sia Dulari, her name is. She would not like being called Sia Dulari. Sia Dulari was abandoned by her husband when she was 14. So we don't even want to get into when she was married, right? She was abandoned at 14. She had 4 children. One would have said, beneficiary, CRY should now be helping her, right? Sia Dulari didn't need our help. She went out there, she got herself an education, she went back to school. She did her graduation. She is today a CRY partner. She started working on malnutrition issues in her community. And to me, what does it take? A rare courage to go beyond being a victim to actually being the change maker. And this young, shy woman today talks to national policy makers on malnutrition. She knows more about malnutrition than I do, I can tell you that. what it means, how it indicates, how you can see children have malnutrition, what are the indices, what are the impact indicators, what are the medical terms, what is the medication, what is the food, what is the supplements. And she says, I cannot even imagine that I could do this. The first time I went to talk to one of the local district magistrates, I was shaking. I am, one of the lower caste, lower class people, and a woman, and a young girl. I mean, the first time she started her work, she was only 21. Today she comes to Delhi, she talks to the national, to NCPCR, she's out there fighting for the right to food. And once again, a rare and transformed individual. Not somebody whom you meet, you will feel like you have to, talk down to say, "Acha, aap kya karte hain?" No. She is going to tell you what she does. She's going to tell you how she's changing the world. And how brave and courageous, and brave and courageous actually also patronizing words, even as I say them. What rare qualities of leadership and individualism has this person found? So, it comes back to me again and again to say, when you seek to change the lives of others, you change yourself. And most of us do not expect it. We do not know what this work, what this taking action for others will actually do for us. We think it's something that we will have to give up. But in doing so, I know and I know many Sia Dularis and many Tanus will have discovered that I have become that transformed human being. I have become everything that I should be. And for all of you, as you go into life, some of you have made fantastic journeys in life already. I would urge you to remember this and urge you to look always for what you are going to discover about yourself when you seek to make change. So thank you so much.